Welcome to What's the Story? My name is Janice Hermson and I am your host. I'm here with Ed Knoll today.
Hey, Jan, we just landed here in Sparks,
did.
Nevada. I guess Sparks, Reno, Nevada.
Reno, not Sparks. We're in Reno. We're right at the edge.
I know.
Right
well, I
on
think
the
I
edge of the
park
river.
in Sparks, though.
You might. You might. Yeah. Yeah, we're right across from the Grand Sierra Resort, and we're happy to be here today. It is Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. Lots of fours. If you like those numbers.
I just love this. The sun's like pointed. Even though it's like about like 90, the sun feels
like... Is it 90 out there? Oh, wow. See, I haven't been outside all day.
Porsche car temperature.
Oh, yeah.
But the sun feels like it's 120, in the fall when it hits you I feel like it's hitting me like directly in the head.
Well, I almost had a Porsche hit me today.
What?
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
Yeah, no, I know. This guy came around the corner and I was going around the corner and, double turn, right?
They forgot that it was a double turn?
Yeah, and they kind of forgot that they weren't supposed to go into my lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they forget it's a double turn, people never, right? You're supposed to turn to the nearest available. Yeah. People don't. Oh,
no, he decided he needed to be all the way to the left.
Yeah.
So needless to say, my horn works. It works. I tested it. It works very well.
There is a thing as a Porsche owner, most people avoid you. Pretty
well, you would think.
You know what I mean? Pretty regular.
When I saw
most people stay away.
Yeah, when I saw it was a Porsche, I was like, are you kidding me? You want my big old van to hit your Porsche? You're crazy.
Yeah, I love the old pickup battle. Yeah. It's always a good one.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was the littler van, so, I'll give him a break. But what can I say? Man, oh man, that was crazy. So this is What's the Story. We're here every week on Tuesdays, and you can hear us on Tuesday nights if you missed last week's show. It is replaying tonight between 7 and 9 on 93.7 FM. Hopefully you can tune in and listen in. It's a great show.
As a matter of fact, I used What's the Story at 93.7 as a password. I needed 14 characters. Well, right. You don't know what it's for, right? I got a million things. But What's the Story at 93.7?
Oh. Look at him. He forgot to turn off his cell phone.
There it is. Someone's calling me right
Somebody's calling. Speaking of that, as long as we got a little bit of a pause here, I had to change our number today. I forgot my phone. So if anybody's been trying to call me, I'm not answering because I forgot my phones. Anyway, they're both at home. Rusty's listening to them right now.
So is your stress level just beyond zero now? Do you feel just so like refreshed to be unattached?
I kind of do.
It's awesome. I think it's like a back to nature. Remember when people started like making log cabins again? Let's live without phones.
That's it. Well, I'm living without my phone. And in order to text us today, you're going to text to 775-984-5076. That's also the LaRue text number. So there you go. You can text us there and hopefully, I don't know. What do you say about that? That's
so
just what happens some days.
Is this going to be a habit? Is this like a Tuesday thing where I'll just leave the phone at home on Tuesdays?
Yeah, maybe. That might be fun.
I think so. I think it's got potential.
Just checking out for the day. What can I tell you? But, you can always reach me at LaRue. Everybody knows.
Well, I was going to say, best I know you work more and time goes quicker when you're not like looking at that thing.
That's very true. I forgot to turn on our clock, so we'll just have to watch the time.
I was gonna say it's still like
it's still we're still at the same number.
It's got the Dick Butkus 51 on it.
Right. That's what it is. Good old Dick Butkus. That's not an easy thing to say. Can I say?
Yeah. I just saw him. He was in like a Murder, She Wrote episode.
Oh, I like those episodes. Yeah. They're fun. Yeah. All right. In case you don't know, this is my chance to plug my own page on Substack, and I'd love it if you would subscribe. I'm going to share my screen right now. I'm trying to talk and walk and chew gum. Difficult. What can I tell you? All right, so this is my Substack, and this week we have a little picture there for our, this represents our word of the day. We want to know if you can guess what it is. And anybody who knows me knows that's my dog, Rusty. And no, Rusty is not the word of the day.
No, he does. He looks like he's poised to catch a mouse that's about to run across the floor.
I know. He's more of a cat than he is a dog.
Yeah, he looks like one there.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? No, he's our little book hound. So anyway, so our word of the day is
sentinel.
Does he look like a sentinel? I think he kind of does.
So here's
unless you know him.
So we'll get into the word of the day, but are gargoyles sentinels?
That's a good question.
He's kind of gargoyle-y.
Okay.
Right? Looking over. You know how they have the gutter coming out of their mouth?
That's true. That's true.
Right
I guess so. All right. So anyway, word of the day is sentinel. And I think it's a good word. It's an appropriate word in a lot of ways, right?
I can't recall the last time I used it, and I'm ashamed of that.
So a person or thing that watches or stands as if watching. I never thought of it as stands as if watching, right?
So it's almost the act of watching, right?
Well, and I felt like looking at that picture that, you can see he's on guard. He's, which is another.
But there's a different level of intensity, right? He's intense.
Yes.
Under this definition, they don't have to be.
Right. That's true. Except the second definition. My second definition is a soldier stationed as a guard to challenge all comers and prevent a surprise attack.
Well,
so he could be that.
The Webster's New Collegiate just said vigilance.
Oh.
And so the first thing I think of is, of all the great coaching movies, Harry Potter series is a great one. They do, right. And one of the things Dumbledore tells Harry is we have to have constant vigilance. They have to be sentinels.
That's right. You must be sentinels.
And so anyway, that as soon as you sent that over, that's what I thought of.
That's cool. That's very cool. So yeah, sentinel is the word of the day. And if you haven't noticed, if you tune in regularly, you know that we usually have Doug Ashby here with us. And unfortunately, he had some business to tend to, so he could not make it today.
Oh, I thought it was he couldn't survive his birthday bash from last week. He's still getting over it.
He might be. That could be the problem. Yeah, both Doug and Ed had birthdays. Doug was Friday and Ed was Thursday. And so we had little cupcakes last week.
Crazy, right? Crazy. Yeah. I think it's new math.
Nobody wants to celebrate their birthday once you get to a certain point.
Well, right. I mean, my next big number is like 65, right? Ooh. So that's Medicare, ooh. Right? I mean, that's like a good thing.
That's a good number.
I was just running out of numbers.
Yeah. Nope, you don't want to run out of numbers. As you get older, now it's almost like when you were a kid. And, I can't wait till I'm 10, right? Or 12 or 15 or whatever, the teenage years, right? So now as you get older, it's like, can I make it? Can I make it to the next one?
Well, I'm trying to, right? So
and still be healthy.
I'm trying to change the laws of physics. I work, 3, 4, 5 hours a day. I'm trying to get to the point where that time, an hour is like 5 minutes. And when I'm home with my son, watching football, having dinner, that's like, 5 minutes is, I want it the other way.
Yeah, you want it.
You're going opposite. I haven't figured, work goes pretty quick, but I haven't figured out the fun time at home getting bigger.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's really interesting. I can't say I only work 4 or 5 hours. That's not me. But I do find that as time progresses, that I am trying to kind of balance that a little bit more. I love my work. And so, but I still have to find some time for some free time and me time, that kind of thing. Right.
Yeah, there you go.
So doing a little bit of that. It's kind of interesting. different.
Well, I'm taking the trip to Las Vegas, right? I
Oh,
mean, I
yeah.
enjoy the drive, right? 7 hours in my car with me by myself
Yes. Yes.
is mostly a good thing.
Yeah. I used to enjoy doing that.
And
kind of
then
thing.
I get to see Fox and catch up. So that's kind of my birthday gift
Hey,
to myself.
that's nice. So let's take a look at, since Doug isn't here, I went ahead and just pulled
synonyms.
synonyms. Do you have some?
No.
No. Okay.
Well,
I have a couple.
Okay.
I have a couple. How about lookout,
Yep.
watch, guard,
Guard is the one I thought of.
and sentry.
Yeah, those are almost right out of the definition.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I didn't look up a whole bunch more.
Oh, I was
Sorry,
going to
Doug.
say there's just a small set.
I think there are. I mean, sentinel is a pretty straightforward. Don't usually do like that straightforward a word, but this was just so appropriate. You know, my dog was sitting there and he had that pose. I got the picture and I said, sentinel's the word. That's the one.
That's so I like the word. I just think it's a dying word. What's anybody guard anymore?
Oh,
I mean, best I know, nobody guards anything very well.
Well, they don't guard Donald Trump.
Well,
that's for
right.
sure.
They don't guard presidents well. I mean, right, stores
What
are
could I
getting
say?
mass pilfered. I mean, I don't know. There
Yeah,
are.
I don't know
It looks
either.
to me like we need more sentinels.
I think we do. I think we do. And then, did you see that story about the Secret Service guy that shot himself? Oh my goodness. I couldn't believe it. I didn't pull that one. I was not prepared to like give you all the background, but I was like, you got to be kidding me, right?
The Secret Service has gone from like having the faith of the American people to not even allowing them watch their kids.
I know. It's terrible. It's just terrible. I mean, I'm embarrassed to even talk about it, which is kind of why I didn't pull the story. I thought, oh, we don't need more of this.
Well, right. I mean, it is pretty ridiculous.
Yes, it's awful. So, but I did want to talk a little bit about continuity of government, because I think that it's something with the 2020 stuff that happened. It was difficult for everybody to even understand what was going on. And I think had we understood continuity of government better, we might have had the tools we needed to be able to react appropriately. How's that for being diplomatic?
So,
is that pretty good?
You know, I guess, but we had plans in an emergency that we didn't follow because people were expressive and excitable, right? And we always go there. One of the presidential candidates is an expressive individual, right? They're emotional. To me, they don't often look at long-term solutions save more lives than short-term reactions. And they're all about short-term reactions. And
right.
It's you know, I guess it'd be nice to change your mind every 5 minutes about what you want and what's going on, but you can't run a country that way. You can't run a state or a county that way.
No, and I think Anthony Fauci flip-flopped so many times over what was right and what was wrong. And then, oh, well, I said that because I didn't want to run out of masks. And oh, wait, no, that doesn't really work. But except on the third Tuesday of the week. And, you know, it was like one thing after the other. And it was very frustrating.
Well, it is rare that a scientist is a politician, but he was.
Yeah, he was.
Right. I mean,
really
likely that's how he maneuvered himself into that space.
It's true. So in my post, I mentioned that I'm not trying to do any kind of fear mongering. I just thought it would be wise for us to kind of pay attention in case the lights go out.
Yeah, we're the anti-war.
Yeah, I don't want to, no fear mongering. This is so that you have tools to live by and to be able to grab hold of and say, oh, you know what, this is what really should be happening. And if it's not, you can at least get your own family units or, you know, or neighborhoods or however you are grouped together so that you can, you know, make things happen in the appropriate way.
Yeah.
And so I did link on there to the Division of Emergency. Actually, no, it was the Continuity of Government Manual. And actually, I pulled that up and I can show that to you. I didn't do it in color. Did it in the black and white. Guide to Continuity of Government. It's only 15 pages. This is from July of 2021, and it's from FEMA, and they intentionally leave a page blank. I'm not sure why they do
I
that.
think it's a fascinating that government continuity is a fascinating thing.
Well, and it's all the branches. It's the judicial and the legislative and the executive.
Well, kind of like police, right?
Yeah.
They're not really political, so they have to work with both folks. If you're a big cause like folks that work with or rescue sex trafficked folks and in that environment, they need friends on both parties.
Yes, they do.
Right. I mean, it's a bipartisan kind of effort.
Yeah. You mentioned that, and my brain went a lot of places. But in Nevada, the Division of Emergency Management on July 1st, 2021, moved from the Department of Public Safety to the Nevada Office of the Military at the behest of, I think it was AB 345, but I don't know that I have that number right. At any rate, that is just Nevada. You should check your own.
So that's basically saying under any kind of emergency, we'll be under military rule.
That's what I'm getting at.
Well, right. Totally. I mean, so for Nevada government, it's easy.
Yep, that's what's going to happen.
Because
so
it's
people shouldn't freak out, I think, if they see that, because that is part of the law. Whether you like it or not, whether you think it's right or not, that's not my point. My point is that's what the law states. We have another legislative session coming up. If you don't like it, maybe you can push your legislators to do something different.
Who knows? Maybe to be better.
I don't know.
Right?
I'm not sure how I feel about that. Yeah.
At least we'd have accountability.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I say I don't know how I feel about that exactly. But, I saw that and it kind of hit me. And I said, wait a minute. I remember I saw it a while
isn't
back.
that the definition of martial law, kind of?
Kinda,
and I've never lived in that environment. And
when we lived in LA and the earthquake hit, I think I've told this story before. We were right on the boundary. There was a dam that was going to break. We were right on the boundary of where those lines that the water's not going to come here. It's going to be on that side, not here. Right. Well, we were right on that street. So we ended up having National Guard stationed all along. It was on Victory Boulevard, and it was stationed all along Victory Boulevard. And so we could leave our house, but we couldn't go far, right? Because it was the boundary line for where the dam was supposed to break. And I guess just have puddles, not, big droves of water.
Like big
there has to be a stopping point, right? I guess we were it.
I don't know. It's so funny. They build these dams like in the washways, and then they build these giant cities right behind them.
Yeah. Well, with the earthquake, you don't know. And they thought that it was going to burst. And fortunately, it did not. And we had a house and, so what do you say?
I hope they're doing a better job catching water over there. Right, in California and stuff. They haven't done. I mean, Nevada's getting a little better at it, I think.
Oh, that's good. I hadn't heard that. They are. Yeah.
That's just a personal observation.
Ah, okay. You're going to share that with us? Tell us about that.
Well, I drove across country, right? And a fascinating thing, if you look for stuff, what was that? I was looking to see who was wet and who was dry. And so you go through Colorado in places and you could tell the rivers, reservoirs along 50 and stuff were down. But that was the only place. Utah had abundant water. Nevada, believe it or not, has water right now.
Right.
And that's what I was looking at, who has water. But southern Colorado looked dry. But everywhere else out west was pretty flush. Green.
Well, that's good to know because they're always telling us how, there's no water.
Well, it's just like anything in a tolerance years. Oh, it's just 1 year.
Yeah.
Right. I'm hoping
that's what they like
we're
to
on
think.
a trend back with a little more water. It would change our world for the better.
It's true. I have a story that I didn't talk about on the teaser because it didn't come out until this morning. And so I want to talk about it now, and I'll have to thank Dawn for sending this to me. Breaking news, BlackRock files for bankruptcy. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yes, BlackRock filed for bankruptcy. And that was just this morning that I got this. The world's largest asset manager has shockingly filed for bankruptcy, marking the downfall of a financial giant built on corruption.
What killed him? Were they so people like that could have a big position, like say with Boeing, right? And Boeing, I mean, you lose if it's all there, you're hurting.
Yeah, it says the company that shaped economies and influenced global markets is now. Well, isn't it ironic that both the assassins that went after Trump had commercials with BlackRock? Huh, that's interesting. Yes, they'd both done commercials with BlackRock. I thought that was kind of interesting.
That is crazy. I didn't know that.
Yep, saw both of them. Yeah, both of them were in commercials with BlackRock. So maybe, maybe there's some pressure there somehow. The company-shaped economies influence global markets is now crumbling under the weight of its misdeeds. This colossal downfall raises a burning question. How could such a powerful firm fall so spectacularly? The answer lies in the collapse of the corrupt financial machinery that fueled BlackRock's rise. Sanctions have smashed the web of secret deals and hidden financial backdoors that once sustained it. BlackRock relied on unregulated strategies and opaque investment tactics, ignoring the warning signs as the world moved towards transparency. And the beginning of the end came with sanctions targeting offshore banking and shadow financial systems. Go figure, corruption. These bureaucratic tools cut off the dirty money that had propped up BlackRock's operation. Really?
I worked in the financial services. I'm a survivor.
So did I.
But I think they're all can change their spots. They can change. They can flip back and forth between fuzzy animals and reptiles.
Yeah.
And I don't trust them at all.
Well, and the problem is that BlackRock is the one that's happening now, but who's next? Who's on the horizon? Well, the firm could no longer thrive in a world where secrecy was currency. It was exposed, leaving its business model unviable.
Well, we're going to say that regular listeners to this show know that I worked in mortgage, was pommeled multiple times in the industry, that the Obama-Biden administration didn't care about that space.
Right.
Obviously, President Biden doesn't care about that space. I don't see Kamala Harris. I know lots of realtors, mortgage folks starving, doing other jobs, whatever they're doing. BlackRock suffered from a lack of transactions.
Right. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it says BlackRock's bankruptcy isn't just a story about one company's failure. It's a global financial earthquake. The implications are far-reaching, likely triggering a domino effect, which is what I was implying, across the world economy, from pension funds to government bonds. The fallout will be immense. You might wonder, how does BlackRock's bankruptcy affect me? The answer is simple. Its collapse will likely cause significant losses for pension funds heavily invested. Yeah, I know.
That's values of your home values are going to start going down.
Got to hurry up and sell, huh?
Well, if you're going to, I mean,
not mine.
You got to balance it with the rate thing, but
yeah. Well, that should hold it up for a little while.
This is just another step, putting a knife in that business and making our society collapse.
Right. So global markets already shaky could experience further turmoil as the reality of BlackRock's downfall sinks in. A cautionary tale for other financial giants. So in the end, BlackRock's bankruptcy is a tale of greed, corruption, and refusal to adapt. As the dust settles, they're already talking about the dust settling. The world will be left to rebuild a broken financial system, one that emerges stronger, more transparent. Oh, these are optimistic folks, and more accountable in the wake of BlackRock's spectacular failure. So, and I'm sorry, I don't have who wrote this. This
just like individuals, right? Companies can get big and sloppy.
Yeah, I apologize to whoever wrote that. I don't have any reference material on this. If I find it, I will mention you, because that's a good information. And I thank Don for sending that over to me. He and I worked over at Ameriprise. Well, it was American Express at the time when I was a financial advisor.
Well, right.
Way back when.
Well, and we can talk about that. BlackRock's going under when stocks haven't been this high, right? I mean, things for companies are mostly good.
Yes, they are.
And so if you're going down when things are mostly good.
Well, but I'm hearing,
That's what I mean. There's something else at play.
no, we have heard of a couple of companies that have gone, one local and one in internationally, I guess I'll say, that are going bankrupt. So it's starting to happen, and you
I
don't
know.
want to see
Well,
it. And
right.
hopefully you're prepared, and that's the whole continuity of government, all
And
this
that's
other
why
stuff.
rates are high, right? Because they
Yeah.
want us
Yeah.
to stumble.
Yep. But they're lowering them, so they say, and so it seems, right? What can I say?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think it spurred much activity, but I'm not in that space. People wanting to buy and sell real estate and people wanting to get out. I just, it's a wonderful space if you're not locked into your house for a lifetime.
Yeah, it's true. Well, fortunately, I feel pretty flexible at this point.
I think most people have come to that conclusion.
So.
I mean, I'm kind of a homebody anyway. I like having a place
Yeah,
to call home.
I do too, but I also know from my past life that can be anywhere.
Right.
That can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be the home I'm in today. It could be anywhere.
Right.
So, family is the part for me that's home. So what can I say? So our next little topic is Ms. Kamala Harris.
I was going to say, you're all like cheery, positive news today. Huh?
Well, we'll get to some good stuff later, but for now, she promised the internet to millions of people and failed. And I want to talk about that specifically because now she's promising homes to millions of first-time homebuyers. So my take on that is, to those of you, and I know I have people that I know that have planned to vote for Kamala Harris. And my question to you is, if she can't fulfill her promise with $42 billion to get people the internet, and it's been 1,039 days and no one is connected, no homes, no businesses, not even a shovel in the ground. If she can't do that, how would you expect her to be able to lower prices, to be able to, what was the other thing she's going to do? Do these millions of first-time home buyer loans. I mean, we know, we were both in the mortgage business. We know how hard that is.
I was talking with my brother about, he was over and we were watching something, maybe the bingo game, and there were political ads running. And we were talking about, I love freedom of speech, but the folks running for office can lie, blatantly lie, know something is a lie and state it, doesn't set right with me. Right. If you know something is untrue, I believe you can't repeat it as true.
And that goes for both sides of the aisle.
I
this
totally
is not
agree.
One-sided.
But when she has a commercial coming out saying Trump's going to raise taxes on everybody, well, he's been for virtually nothing else but lowering taxes for his 30 years in politics.
Yeah. That's
the only thing he's been really, really consistent on. Right. And she's blatantly saying that's going away when his tax situation, right, where he lowered taxes, is coming up for a vote, and they're going to let it expire. She's going to raise taxes for sure. Right. And she's saying she's lowering, and the Biden administration's lying now. If you make 200,000, you're being taxed more.
Yes.
They said it was up to 400. I know a few people in those spaces, and they're paying time and a half.
Right. Yeah, and that's really my point here, because I generally do not go real heavy on one side or another. I mean, you guys probably all know where I am, but I try not to judge and do all that. But when I'm watching this and I'm hearing the same things you are, and she's lying, I mean, even something as dumb, and this is dumb, this Project 2025.
Yeah.
Trump has nothing to do with that. That's the Heritage Foundation. He's made it clear he didn't help plan that. Whether or not he likes it or not, I don't know. But he's told you plain and simple. And then I heard this commercial on the radio. I started yelling at the radio.
Well, no,
because-
I turned off TV too. And well, the Democrats have 25 different think tanks, all with their own agendas fighting to be the one they spend money on.
Right. So, but they're saying, his project 2025. And I'm like, that's not even true. And for low information voters, and there are a lot of them, that's just wrong. And I understand this is politics, but at what point do we start to think about ourselves and our country and tell the truth and get hired? Because how would you like to hire someone in your company and find out everything they said was a lie? You'd fire them in a second. We don't have that option with president.
That's right.
I mean, and our representatives
and
are never going to
tell you right now, I think everybody ought to be curious about Project 2025 and go read it.
Yeah.
You go take a look at it. Certainly the Washoe County commissioners and Reno mayor and state of Nevada people should read it.
Right. Yeah. Because, Trump had his own, whatever it is, Project 47 or whatever the heck it is. I don't even know.
I don't know what those 47. Are. But we were at the meeting where they made the presentation in Northern Nevada of 2025. It was 6, 7, 8 months ago.
Yeah. And that was not Trump.
And it was pretty cool.
Yeah. But it was specific to the Heritage Foundation. Right. And they were saying that they wanted to be able to be prepared to help out and have people that they knew and that they could recommend. And this was not endorsed by Trump.
So to me, it was we talk about DEI. Why do we not like DEI? Not because of people's looks, because they get jobs without knowing how to do them. That's the key.
Right.
And this Project 2025 is if you're a governor of a state, boom. There's a formula. Here's the stuff you do, right? Here's your offices. It takes most elected folks the whole first term to learn how to do their job.
Right.
And so they're not efficient early.
Right. Yeah. And
I think having a plan, you don't go into a football game without a plan unless you're the Bengals.
He's really harping on those Bengals. So anyway, so this was from the FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr. He was the one who was slamming Kamala Harris's $42 billion broadband initiative, saying it hasn't connected a single person to the internet. And this is in 3 years. I mean, this isn't just yesterday.
How much money?
42 billion with a B, right? And it was in an effort to expand internet access to millions. And it's been 1,039 days.
I can't imagine they can find 1 million people without it.
Yeah, remember there's 365 days in a year. So, that number is correct. 3 years plus, and no one has been connected. Nobody, no homes, no businesses, not even a shovel in the ground.
Well,
that's a quote.
Her whole, they just created this person, right? We talk about virtual world. They appointed her.
Right.
Right. They've given her the causes, right? Best I know, she didn't even get her own mind is not out there.
Doesn't seem that
right.
Way.
She's on both sides of every issue.
Right.
They didn't have the time. I think the Democrats made a huge mistake. And if they win, they're going to brush it under the rug.
Well, the thing is, if she had been a popular vice president, I could see making that leap. And I could see some of the Democrats saying, well, it's not the way we want it, but okay. At least she's, good and going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Here's a person that there's not a lot of nice things that I've heard about her from her past, which I'm not going to repeat, but basically that she didn't earn it in the normal way of gaining her position.
That is the DEI way, is non-earning.
So by that fact, then you have this person who was not very popular, who then gets this appointed position, and suddenly all her numbers are way up, and she's beating Donald Trump.
And every news company thinks she's like the second coming.
I'm just going to say that I never believed polls before, but I really don't believe them now. And so, and yeah, you can look at how they've weighted them and all that stuff, but who's to say they're even telling you the truth on that? So
It's
I'm
the
just
most
tired
gullible.
of it.
They have no respect for the human being.
No, I mean,
They have no respect for the U.S. citizen.
right. And as U.S. citizens, we need to demand that. We need to demand that they tell us the truth. We need our media to be honest and quit trying to force us, certain people, down our throats. And, and if she won fair and square, I'm not going to be thrilled, but, you deal with it. But when you start out this way, you automatically feel like they're already rigging the vote. That's how you feel.
Well, right. I mean, so voting matters. Flint, Michigan, they voted the same way. Their city council forever. I just think it's a good point. I do always mention it. But guess what? Their water still stinks because no one spent the money and governed them appropriately.
It's true.
People in other places, such as Washoe County, Nevada, have similar issues.
Right.
And let's fix them.
Right. So Carr is also accusing the administration of focusing on climate change, DEI, your favorite, and other political goals instead of connecting Americans. He points out that the government revoked a $1,300 per location deal with Starlink after President Biden targeted Elon Musk, and now the government's spending over $100,000 per location on its own efforts. So instead of collaborating and using resources that are available, because they didn't like what Elon was doing, they went a different direction.
Well, right. They just did politics and spent more taxpayer money than was necessary. And they haven't accomplished anything.
Right. The bottom line, without major reforms, VP Harris's $42 billion program is wired to fail. It's time to correct course, get rid of all the extraneous political goals, and focus on quickly connecting Americans. She would do everybody a service if she'd just get them all connected. That would be a feather in her cap if she could do that. Right? That would at least prove that she could be successful at that.
That is the thing, right? If you're an adult, right, 21 and a voting age, and you were alive when President Trump was president, he achieved at a certain level and the economy was at a certain level. And now we have hungry hippos, right? You get to pick one and I don't know what it is, right? And so you got these choices here. We got a great economy regardless, and you have hungry hippo. I'm going with the good economy.
Yep, me too.
I was never very good at hungry hippo.
I don't even really remember it. I remember the name, but I don't remember what you did.
But anyway, people, come on, look at what's been done. Look at what's planned and what people have executed on, and you tell me who's competent or has a clue.
Yep.
I'm on the verge of losing it. It's ridiculous.
I would love to hear from somebody who is going to vote for Kamala Harris and why that seems like the right thing to do. But only if it's a positive reason, not because you just don't want to vote for Trump. I get that.
I think that's the majority of folks.
Yeah, but if that's the reason, I don't know.
I'd
say vote for an independent then,
I was doing work on the show and I was thinking, and it led me this time with what's going on, led me back to my personalities and past personality masteries. And when we look at Kamala Harris, right, she's an expressive. Everybody in the left is expressive. What's happening today is everything. Anything that happened yesterday or happens tomorrow has no value.
Right.
And that's the way we spend money and that's the way we do things. It's just an untruth.
Yeah.
But it's life under Biden.
Well, I'm going to switch gears on you now, and we're going to go away from Ms. Harris, and we're going to go to the DOJ, the Department of Justice. They are in full-blown panic mode as Wisconsin towns Thornapple and Lawrence ditch electronic voting machines in favor of a hand count.
Yay!
And the DOJ is threatening to file lawsuits.
They don't even have authority.
Oh, my goodness.
Right? On state elections.
They shouldn't.
They should not.
So, although they do it all the time, they're always filing.
Well, they
lawsuits.
say because it's like cheating, right? I mean, that's how they use it to get in.
Well, they have threatened legal action against the small towns of Thornapple and Lawrence in northern Wisconsin for their decision to abandon electronic voting machines in favor of hand-counted ballots. The DOJ's threat comes after Thornapple and Lawrence officials opted out of using voting systems, citing concerns over their reliability and potential for manipulation, right?
And let's pay more to be less accurate.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Well, and it sounds like these are fairly small. I'm hoping that in the story it's going to tell me how small these folks are. I don't know if I have. Yeah, I do. Okay, so the DOJ's threat comes after Thornapple and Lawrence officials opted out of using the systems. Many believe that hand-counted ballots provide a more transparent and trustworthy alternative, ensuring that every vote is accounted for without the risk of technological errors and tampering.
Yay!
We had a little experience with some hand counting, so we can speak to that.
Yeah, we can speak to that. What about Georgia?
Yeah.
Isn't Georgia?
They're going to count ballots. They're not doing hand counting in the sense of counting the.
Oh, they're going to count how many ballots, so they
ballots.
know how many people voted to check it with the other.
Yes.
Wow, that
verify.
sounds reasonable.
Seems real reasonable. Doesn't seem at all.
I think that's awesome.
Either.
It's kind of like having write the old carbon copy.
Yeah. Double check.
Just
check
rip
and
it
double
off.
check. That's
Yeah.
right.
Two minutes in one.
So the town's alleged failure to provide accessible voting equipment. So what they're saying is that they
ADA,
didn't. Yep,
right.
ADA. They didn't have accessible voting equipment for individuals with disabilities during the April election. And so that's really the reason for the threat. Okay. A complaint filed with the Wisconsin Election Commission says a town at Rusk County is breaking the law by refusing to make voting machines available to voters with disabilities. Despite a warning from the U.S. Department of Justice, the town allegedly conducted the August primary election using only hand-counted paper ballots.
Yay!
So somebody filed a complaint with the Disability Rights in Wisconsin and says that the town of Thornapple violated the federal Help America Vote Act by not making electronic voting machines available. By seizing, okay, so they just go through the whole,
So this is a little bit like big pharma commercials, right? I believe they do like a drug commercial for like someone they have no clients for.
Right.
Right? I mean, literally, right? If you take this, do not blah, blah, breathe, blah, right? Because why are they doing it? Are they using it to sell? No. They're telling everybody how great they are.
Yeah, and they're talking about being able to cast a private ballot in the November presidential election. This is not a situation of a machine that isn't functioning the day at the polling place. This is a place that has chosen specifically, knowing they were, here's that word, disenfranchising
Well, it's
individuals.
the same as like the gym where they come. How many disabled people come in there, right? Is it 5? I mean, serious, right? Whatever it is.
No, exactly.
It could be 10, but can't they just talk to an individual and tell them what they want to vote?
Yeah, well, they're saying it's not private. They're saying that's not private.
That solves it, though. They get a vote.
It does. The DOJ, under the leadership of Kristen Clark, Assistant Attorney General in the Civil Rights Division, has already made it clear they're prepared to file lawsuits against the towns. How about talking to people here? Let's maybe make a resolution to this with that person that's disabled, or the 2 or 3 or 5. I mean, it's a small town. It's probably not a ton, I'm guessing. So
right, you
anyway.
Just make accommodation. They're saying it's the same as the left's philosophy. Let's bend over backwards and everybody else do something special for the 0.5%.
Yeah, so this is from the Gateway Pundit, and unfortunately, they are not stating how many people in the town. They're not telling us a whole lot about.
Well, right. If it's a small town, you can't imagine more than 5 or 10 or even 20 people. I mean, I want them to vote, and they should be able to.
Absolutely.
But best I know, a voter worker could take them in and vote for them, and is sworn to secrecy.
Right. So I'm looking up Thornapple, Wisconsin.
Wikipedia.
Located in Rusk County. Population was 811 at the 2000 census.
So, and there you go. What that really matters, the ADA, right?
Wow, 811. So what percentage could be disabled likely?
I mean, I don't know what that number is. I have no idea
either.
I always try to put it in place with Big Pharma, because those commercials, there's nobody on some of that stuff.
Yeah, but if that's all there are in Thornapple,
right, and they're suing over it. See, that's the DOJ
sense.
that I see.
Yeah,
that's the DOJ sense. That's after Trump. That's the DOJ that can't even tell us anything still about the first shooter of President Trump, the guy who shot him. Right, that guy's disappeared. Yeah. There's no story on him. He's just a wacko, right? I mean, what? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I'm going to say if Thornapple is the one that they're going to go after, boy, I'll tell you, even if their population is doubled, how many votes did we count?
So guess count. What? How many is that, right? That's 2 voting places,
right,
under our numbers, right, per our education.
Right.
It's two places.
Right.
So I know when I was in Pleasant Valley voting there was somebody in a wheelchair being pushed by a husband.
Right.
But that's it. Handicapped folks need to vote. Don't get me wrong. Well, it shouldn't be in the way. I'm just saying there aren't any of them.
Having personal experience with that,
right.
I can tell you that generally speaking, we never had a problem being able to make that happen one way or the other, right? I mean, whether it was I had to assist,
right.
Yeah, or whatever. And that was always an accommodation that was allowed.
Well, right. And I don't think there's a person in the world trying to take the vote away from those folks.
No.
Right? We just want,
especially in a town of 811 or
but the
1,500.
whole policy for the whole world shouldn't be based on like this minute few.
And the machines cost a fair amount.
Well, right, it's way and you've got 800
people. Yeah, you got 800 people, and you're having to spend all this money. On
you need volunteers.
Yeah.
Right. The town like that.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. I didn't realize. I knew it was small, but I didn't realize it was that small. That's pretty small.
So the DOJ should be sued for like wasting taxpayer dollars for suing those folks.
That's terrible.
Serious? Trying to put the muscle of big government on some small little town.
I know.
That's weak.
It's very weak.
That's the fear mongering that happens under this administration and this continuous government.
The continuity.
The continuity.
Oh my goodness.
The continuity. If you want continuity of the last 4 years, serious?
Yeah.
I don't know what you do for a living. Maybe you work at BlackRock.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Well, yeah, but they probably all got cushy settlements and walked with, everybody else's money.
Yeah. Looks like, I don't know. I'm looking at Facebook here to see if we're still live on there. Yeah.
It looked to me like Rusty was still being a sentinel.
Yeah, he's being a sentinel. Yeah, we're there. So we are getting ready to go into I'm looking at my clock here because we didn't put our clock on, but I got about a couple more minutes.
We're about to go dark.
We are about to go dark just for a few minutes, and then we'll come back around 4:03, somewhere in there. I got to get the second show set up. And so at that point, then we'll come back and we're going to have some publishing stories. Ed's got a story to share with you. He hasn't shared it with me yet, so I don't even know what it is.
I haven't yelled at everybody yet, so I got more for you.
There you go. All right. And then I've got some interesting, I read an article in IBPA, which is the Independent Book Publishers Association.
I thought that was a beer, IBPA. Oh.
And there was one point from this guy's article that I have to share with you, and it's about legal matters. And it struck me. So I will share that with you because I was going to copy the article. I said, I should show this to one of our authors. She's trying to do some book marketing. And then I saw this one point and I was like, maybe I'll think about that. So I'll share that. That's my teaser for the next segment.
Same bat channel.
That's right. So we do stream on Facebook on 3 different pages. What's the Story, Bookhound, and also LaRue Press. And 4. We're also on America Matters. And then we stream on Rumble if you go to LaRue Press. And we're on YouTube also, LaRue Press. And LaRue Press is LeruePress. And so hopefully you will check us out there. I'm thinking about getting a new license plate that has either LRPNV or LRPN for LaRue Press Network. What do you think? Which one should I do? Ooh, it's a toughie.
So that's one you need to chew over a weekend.
Ah, okay.
Right. So wake up on Monday and what your first thought is, you go with.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, well, the first one that came into my head was LRPN for LRP Network.
Well, and Doug is still here. He just has his invisibility cloak on.
It's working for me. I just don't see a thing. So anyway,
he's not hooked to a microphone.
You have a great imagination when he's gone.
I never thought I had one at all. And all of a sudden, as I'm getting old, I'm going whacked.
Oh, is that what that is? It's the chocolate. It's the chocolate. You know, and if anybody knows besides, you know, we ought to check out the Chocolate Factory and see if they want to help sponsor our show, because Ed eats so much chocolate that they need to sponsor us. He'll talk about them forever.
Well, they were front page like Fire News.
I know they were, yes. For the day.
I mean, you know, there's like chocolate and weed are like the only commercial business, retail businesses in that neighborhood, and they both survived.
They both did.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's pretty funny.
Awesome.
All right, folks. Well, on that note, we hope that you will come back with us. This is What's the Story? I'm Janice Hermson, and that's Ed Knoll over there. And we're glad that you joined us for our first hour. We hope that you will come back for our second hour, which will be streaming on the same pages, just with a new link. And so it's just something we need to do because of, you know, different stupid technological things. So,
time is a horrible thing to waste.
It is a horrible thing to waste, but we will be back. So please stick around and all those things. You don't get commercials though, so that's a good thing.
Well, if you got them, smoke them.
There you go. Yeah, I haven't heard that one in a long time. All right. We will be back after no words from no sponsors. How's that? All right. Take care, everybody.